The story of the original Last Supper painting is well known. Leonardo was commissioned by Ludovico Sforza, the Duke of Milan, to paint the Last Supper on the dining room wall of a monastery in Milan. The theme was a common one for monasteries at the time. What was unusual is how Leonardo placed the figures in the painting. Usually Jesus and the apostles would be on one side of the table facing the viewer, with Judas on the other side. Instead, Da Vinci placed him on the side of the table with the apostles and Christ, but leaning away from Jesus, his face in shadow. Leonardo began work on the painting in 1495 and completed it in 1498. The original is 15 feet high and almost 30 feet long. Da Vinci was a master of portraying facial expression, and in the Last Supper he captured the moment immediately following Christ's announcement that one of the 12 would betray him. The apostles are grouped together in threes, and their faces betray their emotions of shock, anger, and bewilderment. Leonardo painted the Last Supper on dry plaster instead of the wet plaster usual for frescoes, and he used tempera, not oil-based paints. As a result, the painting began to chip and flake during Leonardo's lifetime. In the 1600s, a doorway was cut through the feet of Christ. In the 1700s, in an effort to protect the painting, a curtain was hung over it. Instead of protecting it, the curtain trapped in moisture, leading to mildew, and then scratched the painting every time it was opened or closed. Several restoration attempts over the years further damaged the original by painting over it or even trying to remove it completely from the wall. Dr. Eaton visited the painting during the 1920s when it was already badly damaged. Unfortunately, an Allied bomb hit the monastery during World War II, and although the painting survived, it was left open to the elements. In an effort to help protect the masterpiece, sandbags were piled in front of it, which led to more mildew. A massive and meticulous restoration effort was made on the original beginning in 1977 and was completed in 1999. The estimate after the restoration is that about 42% of Leonardo's original work remains. Dr. Eaton was traveling through Italy in the 1920s when he conceived the idea to recreate Leonardo's masterpiece in glass. He had seen the badly damaged original and was concerned that it was going to be lost forever. Dr. Eaton had also visited the lovely Cathedral of St. Francis in Assisi with its amazing stained glass. There he had heard about the talented woman, Rosa Moretti, who came from a family with a long history of creating stained glass. Dr. Eaton met with Ms. Moretti and offered her the commission, which she accepted. It took 6 years to complete, 3 years longer than the original. When Moretti began working on the project, she believed that the original was too greatly deteriorated to use as the model. Instead, she said that she would use Leonardo's original sketches. In a photograph taken in her studio at that time, you can see that the feet of Christ are crossed and that his mouth is slightly open. In some of his original sketches, Leonardo had crossed the feet of Christ in reference to the crucifixion. Obviously, Moretti did not complete the work with Christ's feet crossed. Also, the restoration that took place from 1977 to 1999 uncovered the fact that Leonardo had painted Christ's mouth open, not closed, as it had appeared for centuries. Moretti carefully brushed the glass with a variety of paints that had to be carefully mixed from powders. She then repeatedly fired the pieces in a kiln to fuse the paint to the glass. This process can lead to lots of shattered glass, and several of the figures had to be remade more than once. In particular, the figure of Judas broke 5 times before Moretti finished the project. The skill to create such a large piece isn't simply artistic. To design a piece 30 feet long and 15 feet high that can hold up its own weight requires great engineering skill as well. The formal dedication of the window took place on April 28, 1931, and California Governor James Rolph, Jr. gave the dedication address. The opening ceremonies were broadcast live on the radio, and several hundred invited guests were in attendance. For years afterwards, although viewing the window was free, Forest Lawn required reservations in order to control the crowds who wanted to attend.